everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Massive update. Microsoft Fabric, Copilot in notebooks. We've got a new GUI. We've got a new user interface for our chat and also for our chat magic dropdowns. We've got a new agentic experience that's more conversational. One of the things that we had going on yesterday, we had Nellie Gustafsson from the Microsoft Fabric product group, specifically leading up the data science team on. She was here for our live stream for our post Fabcon review, and we talked for about 40 minutes. Now, Nellie dropped a lot of knowledge bombs and a lot of information, not only about what we announced at Fabcons, but some of the things that we're looking forward to. So you want to make sure and check that out. We've got that in the description of the video. So if you're looking for the link, just go ahead and open that up. You can open up and watch that video right after this one. Now, after that, it inspired me to take a look at the video that I had done back in 2023. I thought, what if I take the exact same data? What if I take the exact same prompts? And let's see how it behaves now, about a year and a half later, with these updated models and this new experience. And I was really blown away. Now, before we get to that, there's a couple things we need to keep in mind. First off, if you want to go execute this and you're on a trial capacity, you're not going to be able to do it. Copilot doesn't work on a trial capacity. Also, keep in mind that we have to have a P1 or an F64 until April 30th. When we get to the end of this month, we are going to turn on Copilot for every Fabric SKU. That means if you're in an F2 all the way up to the top of our F SKUs, you're going to be able to use Copilot. Another couple things to keep in mind. For this new GUI experience, we have to have Spark 3.4 or higher enabled for the Spark capacity and the Spark workloads that we're using underneath the covers for Microsoft Fabric. That shouldn't be a problem. By default right now, you can't select anything below Spark 3.4. And when I looked at my GUI, I was in Spark 3.5. So just keep that in mind. If you don't see this GUI experience, go and check your Fabric Spark capacity and make sure that your workers are sitting at 3.4 or above. Okay, enough talking about this. Let's go ahead and get over that great content. Okay, so we're over in Microsoft Fabric, and I'm starting off in my lake house, and I'm using my domestic box office table. Last time I called this movie info. I've actually got a different movie info table now. I had just renamed it, but it's domestic box office. We're going to open up a new notebook, and we're going to get started with this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rename this. We're going to call this exactly what it is. Update Copilot in notebooks, because that's what we're doing today. I'm going to go into my first cell. And there it is. There's our new experience right there in the cell. Boom, I get it. And I can go ahead and ask a question. Now let's expand so I can see my table a little bit. You can see it's got the DBO underscore, and I'm going to have it load the table. Last time I loaded the table myself. So let's say load the DBO domestic box office table into the data frame. Show me the first 10 rows. Name the data frame DF. And you need to connect to a Spark session before you can connect to Copilot. I think I need some more coffee. Oh, it's a good cup of Joe. Good job. Okay, coffee intake complete. Let's go ahead and run the cell. Now that the cell is running, I can execute Copilot. Once I see it that the Spark session is started up, I don't even need to wait for the cell to complete for what I'm doing. Most cases you want to. Boom, look at this. This is a little bit of Fabric magic right here. We have this new experience. From now on, whenever you do something in Copilot and the code is going to replace it, it's going to give you a comparison, let you see what the difference is. Click accept the change, and then I'm going to execute this. Now, I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but what this is going to do is this is going to load our domestic box office table. Wonderful. We've got all these rows. I'm going to open up a new cell. Now, let's just do a quick reminder of what we're doing here. I'm specifically looking at the domestic box office table, but I've given myself a couple hurdles. My goal is not to type any code. I want to use Copilot. Last time I had some things I needed to type. This time I'd like to stick to regular language. So when I look at my domestic box office table, one of the things that I can see, I've got my movie title. I've got a whole bunch of information. The thing I want to focus on is the theater count and the average per theater. And what we're trying to find out is, does it matter how many theaters a movie is released in? Do I make more money in my average per theater count if I have the movie in more theaters or not? And the goal, again, using Copilot is we want to make sure that we're not typing, right? Like I don't want to type any code whatsoever. I want insights, I want visualizations, and I want it without me having to write all the code. Okay, so now we need to do some transformations. I've got a couple fields and they're all text, right? So in the data frame, I want to make sure that I retain all the other columns first off, but I want to remove dollar signs, commas, and white space from average per theater column. I want to put it in a new column, average per theater, and I want to do it in the same DF data frame. I want the type to remain a string. We're going to convert that later. And then I want to display the top 10 rows. And I just wanted to do the exact same thing for theater count, but put it in a new column called total theaters. I'm going to accept my change, go ahead and run this. And boom, there we go. Again, a little more Fabric magic. I can see there are my transformations. There's my new columns. There's my new types. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to run the next one. We're just going to say, let's make these numeric values. Do it the same thing. I love it that I can say, just do it the same thing. So conversational, right? So there we go. Again, I execute and it just works. I'm not writing any code in here. I'm just writing plain text. Now, the next thing I want to do, we're down to the fun stuff. Summarize total theaters by movie title in the DF data frame. Create a bar chart of the top 10 films by max total theaters. Display movie title as a part of the chart. I want to understand what is the theater count that we're getting. I want it to write that code for me, but I want that visualization. So there we go. There's our code. Now let's go ahead and run this. In the previous video, I had problems before this and I had to fix the code. Would you look at this? Oh, this is so great. It's already in portrait mode. Last time I had to ask it to be able to flip. I didn't even think of that until after I had made the first video, but it already put it in there. And this is a better visualization. You know what I'd love? I'd love some data labels. So let's just say put data labels on the previous chart. Very conversational. I'm not even referencing data frames or anything. We've got the code. Take a look. Oh, look at this. That's a little bit of Fabric magic right there. Boom, I can see there's my total theaters, right? And it's what you would expect. Big name, top box office movies. Avengers Endgame, Despicable Me 3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, all the way down to Iron Man 2. The most theaters are going to be reserved for movies that are big box office theater hits. Well, let's take a look at our next one. Summarize average per theater by movie title. Create a bar chart of the top 10 max by average per theater. Display is part of the movie chart. Okay, so now let's take a look and let's see how this changes for us. Because what I want to know now is I really want to know the average per theater. Which movies got the most bang for their buck? Was it these big box office movies? Did going into more theaters help? And last time, oh my goodness, look at this Fabric magic. Not only did it keep it at a portrait level, it already added the data frames to it. It remembered that and it put that in there because I asked for it last time. Let's ask for something else. Let's ask to be able to color code this. Let's just color code the bars differently. Different colors made for the previous chart in the previous cell. Again, conversational. We're just referring to these things. It knows and it can derive this meaning. We get our code. Look at this Fabric magic. How fantastic. Okay, so let's look at this. Again, La La Land, same as last time in the last video, had the highest per theater box office. As a matter of fact, part of the wider distribution was because it was scoring so high and it was making so much money per theater. We can see that Wolverine and Deadpool now has a new entry down at the bottom. Part of how successful that movie was part of its per theater, but it wasn't in the top theater count. As a matter of fact, it was a little bit below that. So what does it tell us? Quality, not quantity, because we can see a few smaller movies in there as well. 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, The Shape of Water, The Post, all wonderful, wonderful films, but not necessarily big budget films. But these big budget films, these are the type of movies where the second you see it's on TV, you go, I'm just going to watch this for a minute. Before you know it, you're in there for the whole time. One other thing, let me create a new cell. And you can see I've got this little magic expression where I've got explain code, fix errors, add code comments, optimize the code. We used fix code last time in the chat magics. These are still available, but this is wonderful stuff. And now this is also available via the GUI. So I don't even have to click a command. I can just click Copilot and then I can go to the drop down to be able to get these values. Optimize code? Are you kidding me? Where have you been all my life? I can fix my code and I can optimize it. What an amazing thing. Okay. You know where we want to keep this going. Down in the comments, sound off. Are you excited for next month in May when we get to just use Copilot for any SKU. I know I'm excited to be able to have this capability in an F2 or to use an F2 as a fabric capacity Copilot, so that way we can use some of these new advances. And again, when you're building in Spark, sometimes this is just such an easier way to be able to get that code created for you using Copilot. As always, thank you so much for joining us on Tales from the Field. And once again, be good to one another out there. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood.